Hello and welcome to GRL Season 17. We are here today at Virginia International for two exciting races, two exciting heat races. Drivers still warming up, trying to get that last bit of practice in before the race starts. Now it's a new season here. Everyone starts from zero again, a brand new championship. So this race will set the tone for the rest of the season, probably. And now we'll look at Benjamin Kern, who last year performed pretty well in the pro category, I believe, and who's doing his first laps right now. We still have 50 minutes of practice left for the drivers to get some lap times in. Oh, and someone already spinning there. I didn't get who that was. But the drivers now have 50 minutes to warm up, and then we'll have two heat races. One of them will be 15 minutes and one of them 30. With the second one having a reverse grid for the top 8 drivers. And this will definitely be a very interesting race. Virginia International a very beautiful track, a lot of overtaking opportunities. For example, here at the end of this long straight when going towards turn 14, we'll probably see some dive bombs being made here. And of course, at the end of the start-finish line into the right-hander, there might also be some overtaking taking place. But now the driver's only warming up, not really fighting at the moment. Currently, fastest driver out, John Bailiff, with a 1:56.58. Taking those curbs really hard. And now those two right-handers, those are turn 12 and 11. Looking really good at them. Maybe he can expand the gap to Benjamin Kern, we'll have to see. But he... Oh well, my iRacing seems to have crashed. I will be back in a second. So everything is up and running again. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope that that doesn't happen again. So yeah, Benjamin Kern, we're looking at him right there in front. And we'll switch to Stefan Heineken, who is underway here in this beautiful Red Bull livery. Was P1 just now, but Peter Sikta has overtaken him on pace with only 0.30 seconds between them. Someone crashed there in the background, but couldn't make out what number that was. So it'll be interesting to see how this practice session develops, as this will probably set the tone for the qualifying, and then afterwards, of course, for the race. Now, in the last season, or in the last two races at least, we saw Benjamin Kern as well as Ivan Stitchbury, both very competitive back then, but currently Benjamin Kern on 4th and Ivan Stitchbury on 9th. So we might have some very serious competition on our hands here. Or not, as Benjamin Kern has set the fastest lap time with a 1:46.3. So he is currently the fastest driver out. Let's see if that time holds up. Currently 17 drivers in the session, if I see that correctly. And all are looking very close in pace, at least for the moment. So let's see what this practice session has to offer. 40 minutes left of the drivers doing their laps. So not that much time, only time for about one race stint. Even in the last few rounds where not as many people attended, we still saw some incredible racing, even if it wasn't for championship position. But now, new season, everything on the table here in round 1 of the GRL Porsche Cup, European Porsche Cup. And we'll take a look at Benjamin Kern, currently fastest driver out and trying to extend his lead by the looks of it. Now through those S's, that will be turn 7, 8 and 9 before going through the fast right-hander, left-hander, and these very difficult corners. You have to slow down the car a lot here, and then onto the long straight. As I've said before, a prime overtaking opportunity, but Benjamin Kern won't have to fear that at the moment. No one close enough to try anything. Now into this very hard braking zone, you have to slow down the car a lot, and then only a couple more, be it very difficult corners, until you get to the start finish line, which we are seeing here right now. Yeah, very good looking lap by Benjamin Kern. Now, on P9 currently, Sebastian Ferreira, who was in the championship fight for P1 in the amateurs category last season. And currently, no competitors of him online. Oh, it seems I'm mistaken. Frederik Smith, who I think was also in contention for the first position has also shown up here today. That is our second Welsh driver currently in the server, that is Daniel Thomas. Who is already done some laps, currently on P11. And 1.1 second behind Benjamin Kern, currently the leader. Now everything's been going very smoothly in this practice session. Let's see if we can keep that clean racing for the race session, and of course the qualifying, where everyone will be out at the same time and trying to set their fastest lap. It will also be a fighter, I think, especially because all the drivers will go out at the same time, as they don't have much time to set their fastest laps. And now here Daniel Thomas through the last corner onto the start-finish straight. And he will cross the line with a time of 1:51.0. This was of course his outlap, so we will be expecting some faster laps in just a second. Now Ian Stitchbury, who was very competitive in the second to last race of last season, also back to race in this season, and currently fifth fastest driver on the grid, 0.2 seconds behind Benjamin Kern. And he's also looking to get a faster lap time in. Now going through those last crucial corners where you can lose a lot of time but also gain a lot of time, he will go back to the pits, surprisingly. So he will not be setting another lap time. Currently out Eugene Schmidt with the number 81. If I am not mistaken, he should also have been a competitor for P1 in the amateurs category last season. I will have to look that up though. Yes, he was. I do believe he won the last last year's championship. And now I think only Simon Gümer would be missing to complete last season's fight for P1. But not many drivers out now. But one of them is number 93 with Neil Killen, with this beautiful black and orange livery. Also trying to better his position in this practice session, only P15 at the moment. So we'll see if he can improve that now. Very aggressive. Could have used a bit more track on the exit there. But now onto the start-finish straight, and he will be setting a lap time of 1:47.0. So now up to P10. This is looking very interesting, because up to P13 everyone is within within a second of each other. So we'll definitely be having some very interesting racing here. 20 people in the server right now. Let's see if some more will join, as there's still half an hour of practice left. Now of course the weather also a very important role here. Now in real life, as many of the drivers here European are experiencing a giant heat wave. I've heard some people already struggling with the temperature, me included. And of course the drivers who have an AC with them do maybe have an advantage, but we'll see if that has any effect on performance. Sebastian Ferreira, who is currently P13, I think also someone who is not driving with AC. So he'll be having a very hot room to drive in today. We'll keep an eye out on him. We'll wish him best of luck with those terrible temperatures. Now across the line for him, he will be setting a lap time of 1:48.7, so he will not be improving for now. And still stay about 1 second behind Benjamin Kern. But what's also very interesting is that the gap from P1 to P4 is only 0.07 seconds, so about 700th of a second. So very competitive, the lead battle here. Now of course this practice session doesn't have as much to say about pace as the quali will, but I think it's still a pretty good way to guess the guys' pace. Oh, and Christopher Smith in the number 175 going off there, having a little spin. Now in reverse to try and get back on the track. Oh, and that could be classified as an unsafe rejoin. So you'll have to hope that the stewards don't look too closely at the practice session. Now Ian Stitchberry out on a lap. He has 2/10 to gain on Benjamin Kern, and he will currently not better his lap with a 1:47.2, so he won't gain any position on the leaderboard. But that doesn't Oh, Stefan Heineken. Now fastest driver, a 1:46.1 incredible time. Now 1/10 ahead of Benjamin Kern, who is currently on an outlap, who might be looking to take back that P1. But there is still some practice time left to beat that time. Now someone we saw last season, David Raoli, out as well. One of the slower drivers. He was in the amateurs category. He's had 1 week of break, and we'll see if that has affected his pace at all. If we will see a more competitive performance today. But now here, of course, only on his outlap. And let's see if he can move up to the midfield in today's race. Oh, someone we talked about before, Ivan Stitchbury. Now with a 1:46.1. So, he currently fastest driver out there before Heineken. We are having a lot of position switches right now. And now Benjamin Kern will have to gain a bit more time even on his laps if he wants to get back to P1. Now Ivan Stitchbury going back to the pits. And that will maybe give Benjamin Kern the opportunity to get a faster lap in, but he is currently followed by Stefan Heineken. The two Germans will probably get into a little battle. Oh, and who's that back there? I think that was Neil Killen. Oh, and that was Stefan Heineken going straight into the wall. Whatever happened there? And that is a replay of Neil Killen, who we saw before, trying to get back on track. Now, oh, I might have done a little misclick. Okay, here. We are now back again here with the live transmission, but what I think will be really interesting is to look at Stefan Heineken, who didn't even try to brake and just went straight into the wall. I don't think he wanted to drive anymore. So he just going straight into the wall and going back to the pits, probably to get some clean air, to get away from Benjamin Kern, who is trying his best to close the gap to Ivan Stitchbury. Now the gaps have increased. Sebastian Ferreira now out of the 1 second window to the leader. Now currently on P8, Eugene Schmidt out on a fast lap again, it seems. He's pretty early into the lap, going through the assist. I think that's turn 4, 5, and 6, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to take a look. Oh no, that is only turn 6. A very clean line we're seeing here. Now, right in front of him, that is Frederik Smith. The two guys last season, last race in a battle for P1, with Frederik Smith only 9 points behind Eugene Schmidt, but in the end, I think it was Eugene Schmidt who was able to take home the victory. Now, Eugene Schmidt has caught up to Frederik Smith, and you may see one of the first battles of this season unfolding right now. Some very different styles here if we look at the liveries, with Frederik Smith being a bit brighter and a bit more shiny. So what will also be interesting is where David Raouli is. He is currently on P12. Oh, and that will be David Raouli off, and Eugene Schmidt also going through the grass. So no one really profited there. Eugene Schmidt now off again. We saw Frederik Smith with at least one tire in the grass before. So a lot of chaos right now. Now the server is filled even more. I think we're now at 27 or something drivers. And Simon Gümer has joined us for this race. So for the top 4 of last season's amateurs class, we have everyone here. Oh, and that's Eugene Schmidt going side by side with David Raouli into the first corner. And he will get it done. He will get past and go on to do another lap. Now right in front of him, Neil Killen, one of the organizers of this race. So he'll have to be a bit more careful overtaking him, of course. Oh, Neil Killen going off there. It's of course very unfortunate. You don't want to have that. But of course it's better to have in a practice session than in the actual race or even in qualifying. So everything fine for now. Only 18 minutes of practice left. So quali is getting closer and closer. And the pressure is building on these drivers to perform. Eugene Schmidt finishing up his lap, and we'll see if he can improve. we do have to consider that at the start of the lap he was on the inside for turn 1, so he got a worse line through there, so he will probably not improve his time. No, he won't. That is a 146.7. And Frederik Smith has moved up the order with him now on P11. Heineken currently out on track. Oh! What happened there? I don't think it was this incident. So some car just went off spectacularly there. We don't know which one, sadly. Now, if you want to get involved in this racing, do consider joining the league through the Discord server down in the description. I think we'll have a look up the order as Ivan Stitchbury is out on another fast lap. Now his last lap was a 146.4, so about 3/10 slower than his fastest lap time. So we might see some more improvement here. We might see the gap opening up a bit more now. Through the last corner he goes. Oh, and he's still warming up his tires, so he is on an outlap right now. Or maybe on his second lap. Okay, so a time of 2 minutes. There, that is of course not race pace. So probably just on an outlap right now. Let's see if Stefan Heineken is looking for a faster lap. We will go on board and look at what he's doing right now. Using all of that exit there onto the white line, maybe even into the gravel. He paid for the whole track, he'll use the whole track it seems. And now, after the long straight into this hard braking zone. And it's a blind corner. So if someone crashes here, that could be a huge problem for the drivers that come behind them. Now we're almost at 30 drivers for the upcoming race. And we'll look at this lap from Heineken down towards T1. Hard on the brakes at the 3 sign. Trying his best to get the car rotated. And then very careful on throttle, as it's very easy to lose one's car back there. Oh, and absolutely using all of the track he can. Up on those curbs. So this might be a very quick lap we are looking at right now. Of course, much of this very blind, I do have to say. So the drivers will just have to trust the others to not do anything stupid. And into the hard braking zone once again. Up on that curb. Using very much curb in his laps this far. And he's going off track there. So there won't be any improvement here at the moment. And he will cross the line with a time of 1:47.25. Oh, and there's some smoke going up there in the background. So we might have seen somebody crash. Ivan Stitchbury has gotten himself a black flag according to this overlay. Oh, and losing his rear there, Stefan Heineken on his second attempt at a fast lap has spun around. Now this is of course not perfect if you want to maybe get Ivan Stitchbury off that P1 spot. Now only 10 minutes of practice remain. And this seems like this is the kind of pace we can expect during the race or the qualifying. Sometimes around the 1:46 mark. Now it could also be that these drivers have been practicing quali the entire time, which I even suspect, since they have been getting a lot in and out of the pits in this practice session. So it could be, we'll see in just a second, in Stefan Heineken sending it into the wall there. But Ivan Stitchbury now out there, he has not sent his car into a wall. He will continue driving and practice for the upcoming qualifying session. Or he will not. Oh no, he's letting Neil Killen past. Now he's warming up his tires. Very important to get those tires up to temperature for the fast laps. Letting those tires scrub a lot here, Ivan Stitchbury. Give them number 922 now through those last corners, and he will go on to his first flying lap after he went out of the pits. Oh, using a lot of track there. Going a bit onto the grass with the outer two tires. Oh, and now going very wide. And just deciding that it's not worth it to try to get back on track. Going back to pits. Peter Sekta, currently P4 on the leaderboard with only 2/10 to Ivan Stitchbury. And he is out on a fast lap. So we'll have to see if we can get his current sector times up on the screen. But he already in the last sector. Now onto the start finish straight. He will be crossing the line any moment now. And it will be a time of 1:47.0. Well, not the fastest. I think that's Dennis Blomart. He's still driving past him. And Benjamin Can out again on the hunt for P1, I assume. Oh, and he has gone round. Probably an advanced tire warming strategy. Okay, here. There are the sector times. We could also, of course, look at in these sector times compared to the ones done by Peter Sigter. And we'll see if we can get a comparison to Heineken. It does not seem like it at the moment. So Benjamin Can, one of the last guys out right now. P3 out of about 30 drivers. So he's looking at a very good qualifying at the moment. Now 4 minutes to qualifying. And only about 5 drivers or something. Oh! Oh, what happened here? What happened here? Simon Gümer in a Rexy livery this time around has had some kind of issue with another driver. So we don't know what just happened there, but it almost seemed like Simon Gümer was charging at the other driver. And the driver we are looking at, Julian Casius, turning into the pit lane and finishing his last laps. Now John Bailiff from the United Kingdom, currently in 6th overall in this very colorful livery. But now, same situation up to P18. We're still within 1 second to the leader. Now, of course, this track isn't the longest, but being within 1 second of each other up to P18 is still a very impressive feat. And I think this promises good racing to be present in just a moment when qualifying starts. Eugene Schmidt currently on P10 with a best time of 1:46.7. He's also doing his last lap right now, probably, as qualifying is to begin in only 1 minute, and he will be going round. He will lose his rear. And John Bailiff, also on the side of the road, also doesn't seem like he had the best of laps right now. We'll have to look a bit further back to see someone actually driving. That is Jack Jones we are looking at right now in the number 23 Porsche Cup car. Now, these cars, of course, not as difficult to drive as the old ones that didn't have any ABS or traction control, but I don't think that will decrease the quality of the racing. It could increase it, I believe, but we'll have to see as practice ends in 5 seconds, and we'll be doing a quick ad break, and we'll be right back with you when the qualifying starts. And we are back for the qualifying, which is starting right now. Now the question, of course, who will be the first one out? A really long line having formed there. We might be seeing some team action back there, as those guys seem to have very similar liveries. You can see them in the back there. Now everyone going towards their first lap. And yeah, Iwan Stitchberry, He will be setting the first lap time of qualifying with a 1:55.1, but Daniel Thomas, out of nowhere, even faster, going side by side with the number 20. That will be Christian Malczarek, who is currently 4th fastest. But of course, still, it's only the outlap. So we are looking at a team right here, it seems. It involves Daniel Thomas, Neil Killen, and the number 43, whoever that is. And of course everyone here for the fastest lap possible. Ivan Stitchberry still in the lead. And he hasn't set a new fastest lap time yet. Oh, there's Simon Gümer on the screen. You can see him back there in the green Rexy livery. But Ivan Stitchberry through the last sector. Very interesting what time he'll do. One of the fastest guys in practice. Let's see if that transfers to qualifying onto the start finish straight towards the finish under 23 there, which is a bit further down, I believe, on screen shortly. And he'll be doing a time of 1:51.1, so still nowhere near the pace we saw in practice, which probably means this will be the lap where they go to push. I don't know if the rules have changed for qualifying, but they were only allowed 2 flying laps, and they are still, I'm seeing right now, so this will have to do for Ivan Stitchberry. If he doesn't get it here, he will be starting down the grid. Benjamin Ken, currently the fastest driver, and directly behind Ivan Stitchberry. I don't know how close they are, but there could be some slipstream at play here. And we are looking for the fight for pole position. Now Kerry Corcoran, currently fastest driver out, but I don't think that will hold. See, he has only done a 1:48.5, and these guys now coming down into the last sector. Ivan Stitchberry in front and right behind Benjamin Kern. Start finish straight. Now it's full throttle for a couple 100 meters. And now when Stitchberry will set a time of 1:46.8. That is some very good pace. Benjamin cannot hold feet with that, or he may have invalidated a lap. Now John Bailiff actually faster than Ivan Stitchberry, but only by 600ths of a second. So not much. And now Joshua Wills has set another fastest lap time with 3/10, with him being 3/10 ahead of John Bailiff, and he has done a 1:46.5. That's him. That's Joshua Wills in the Taco Bell livery, overtaking Simon Gümer there. That might have cost him some time. I don't think he was completely at the apex there, so Simon Gümer might have compromised his lap just now. But I do not know why Simon Gümer is going so slow. He seems to be up to race speed again now. Joshua Wills is still going full push, so he probably still has some time in his delta. He probably still has a flying lap open. He does have the wonderful number 911. which is very fitting for this championship. We'll see his performance, if he can top the lap time he just did in just a second, and only 2.5 minutes left of qualifying. So there's not much time to set another lap, and Iwan Stitchberry now first again with a 1:46.14. So we're up to the pace we saw in practice. Oh! And Joshua Wills into the pits. Iwan Stitchberry as well, and Daniel Thomas. 6K I-rating driver, I think one of the highest in the session, will have to do with P2. I'm very interested who that third member of the team is, who the number 43 belongs to. Or maybe I've just misread the number. That could also be. Now I think that's the car behind. It could also be Neil Killen. So Daniel Thomas now on another flying lap. It seems he doesn't seem to slow down. Okay, that behind, that should be number 93 of Neil Killen. So the mystery third driver, we'll have to see if we can spot him in the race. But currently front row lockout for the nation of Wales, with the only two drivers from there, and both being the fastest in the qualifying right now. But as you can see in the back row, still a lot of people coming through, and Daniel Thomas with a 1:45.9 onto pole position. We'll see if anyone else can improve enough to take pole position away, or maybe even second. Still huge gaps between the drivers. Iwan Stitchberry 0.2 seconds behind his to Daniel Thomas in qualifying as ended. So that is our final lineup for the start. Now we'll take a quick ad break again. We'll be right back with you. So we are here for the first of the two heat races. 15 minutes ahead of us. We'll see what the drivers can do in those crucial minutes. Now, of course, blank slate today, new season, so everyone has a pretty similar chance to get the top position in the championship. Now, of course, it is not only decided in in results, but also... Oh. And we are already going green. Daniel Thomas in the lead. 5 red lights, and it is lights out at Virginia International for the first race of GRL European Porsche Cup. Now going down towards the first corner. Daniel Thomas onto the outside. He will take that corner normally, but Ivan Stitchberry already under attack by Joshua Wills, and Joshua Wills is already through. Benjamin Kern right behind. Ivan Stitchberry not giving up yet. He is still right alongside with Joshua Wills, but he is through now. Now further down the field, a giant polkas formed. Everyone going too wide there. And that is Eugene Schmidt, who is now leading a bigger pack. And that is the number 93 right there, with Neil Killen on board now. Eugene Schmidt has gotten himself some room, but there's still Sander Draye right behind him, who is not wanting to give up that position just yet. Now, there have already been so many drivers which have either been disqualified or haven't gridded yet. I don't know. Oh, but it could also be that they just haven't run it in. And we will take a look further back at David Raouli, who is... Oh, wait! Stefan Heineken. He was one of the faster guys. He was one of the faster guys in practice, at least. So why is he now out? Okay, so now back here. It's beautiful flat 6 engines screaming, and Daniel Thomas and Ivan Stitchberry still both in the lead. Joshua Wills right behind. So even though he had a very good attack at the start, he will not be able to gain any position for now, and he'll have to worry about Benjamin Kern, who is right behind him, and will not be waiting for much longer. So it's now to the offensive for Joshua Wills, who, funnily enough, is American in this European Porsche Cup. I'd be interested to know what time it is for him right now. Probably like 1 or 2 p.m. or something like that. Not as late as for the Porsche Cup drivers here. Now Joshua Wills closing that gap. 0.3 seconds between him and Ivan Stitchberry. Will he be able to close that gap enough to get past, though? We'll take a look back at Benjamin Kern, who is under pressure from Christian Malcharek. But the gap is open just a bit too far to get past. That is the top group of 5 cars, which is leading the race, with Daniel Thomas already building a gap. And someone who is under huge pressure is John Bailiff in that beautiful livery, under attack from another group of 5. So will he be able to close the gap? Oh wait, what is happening back there? Jack Jones against Martin Sietsma. Now, I don't know, has he just gotten past? Yes, he has. That was the pass for P8. So he is now on the hunt for Peter Sigter, right in front of him. But there's a huge train behind him. Can he hold them back enough to get some peace of mind? Will be interesting to see. Into that hard-braking zone. And Martin Sietsma not going alongside. He will be staying behind. He will be staying patient and waiting for the right opportunity, as the gap to Sander Dragier also increases, as that gap is also getting bigger. John Bailiff a bit further up the order, under pressure from Peter Sichter. 0.25 seconds between the drivers. Only a car length between them, I think. And now very difficult corners, and then it's onto a long straight where Peter Sichter might have an opportunity to close the gap. Now already 6 minutes have passed, and the drivers have already completed 3 laps. But let's see where this leads. John Bailiff under pressure from Peter Sichter, now onto a oh, and that's the touch. That's the touch. So that means Peter Sichter losing a lot of time, and now Jack Jones has something to latch onto. He now has a bit of slipstream that he can use. But I think he is more worried about the cars behind, as they are really close to him and are threatening his position very much. We'll take a look a bit further back the order. That is Simon Gümer we are looking at right now. Rex delivery currently on P26, so he is not looking too well. Simon Gümer now in the fight with the car in front. That will be Joël Van Pret. Now the timing tower is having some issues. I might have to change my iRacing settings for the next race. And it seems like Jack Jones has gotten past Peter Sichter. So the Ukrainian driver now back to P8. And they're going bumper to bumper, these 3 cars, down towards P10. Now to the outside goes Peter Sichter. He's trying to look for a gap, but there is none. Now full throttle for a couple of seconds. This would be where the drivers normally relax a bit, but there's no relaxing possible here. Oh, and what's that? Benjamin Kern against Christian Malczarek, and he can get it done now. Benjamin Kern up to P4 again. Christian Malczarek must have gotten past, and he is now on the hunt for Joshua Wills in the number 911 car. But 4 seconds. Will he be able to close that in the next 6 minutes? Oh, and that's some incredible pace the top guys are showing. A 1:45.9. That is really, really quick. Martin Sietsma under pressure from Sander Dragier and Eugene Schmidt. So since the start, not a lot of movement here. We have seen Eugene Schmidt defending from Sander Dragier before, but so he must have gotten past. But Eugene Schmidt still right on the bumper, still really really dangerous for Sonder 3. Now up to the front, Joshua Wills, right on the bumper of Ivan Stitchbury. He'll look for a gap now. Let's see if he can find one. No, he will not be getting close enough to look for any kind of gap, so the two Welsh drivers still leading the race. But Joshua Wills will not make it so easy for Ivan Stitchbury. Still really close, and they'll be going onto another straight where Ivan Stitchbury is vulnerable in just a moment. If Joshua Wills can get these corners right, he might have a chance into turn 1, but it doesn't look good for him. 0.4 seconds between the two drivers. Down towards turn 1, it doesn't seem like Joshua Wills is close enough to get the move done, and last step we've seen about half a tenth slower than Ivan Stitchbury, so he is losing a bit of time, but not enough to give up the fight. And what has happened? Daniel Thomas has lost a second. What just happened there? He must have made some kind of mistake, as he's now only half a second ahead of Ivan Stitchbury. There's a lot of cutting going on right now, as the drivers try to maximize track usage to be as fast as possible. Now, many of these guys, of course, have jobs to do tomorrow, but that will not hold them back from fighting all out. So let's just hope the adrenaline won't keep them up in bed later. Benjamin Kern still fighting with Christian Maltarek, who is still on his bumper, and the gap to Joshua Wills is growing, so it's not looking good for Benjamin Kern. But we do have to consider that there's a reverse order for the second heat race, so there might be a chance for Benjamin Kern to get a better second race in just a moment, as there's only 2 minutes left on the clock for this heat race. And now everything has calmed down, the gaps are growing, and it's looking more secure for the drivers. And I'm not seeing any huge fights at the moment. And not much happening here as well. Bit down the order. Now we are looking. Oh, Jack Jones is out. Neil Killen as well, and Simon Gümer, P2 in last year's Amateurs Championship, out as well. Very unfortunate. And of course Stefan Heineken out as well. Now we'll look further up the order again, as some gaps have drastically closed. And Daniel Thomas, what has happened? The gap now tiny. Between him and Ivan Stitchbury down to T1. Will there be a move made? I don't think Ivan Stitchbury is close enough to try something, and he will stay behind. That is a smart decision, but Kerry Corcoran in this mildly American livery might be close enough to Sebastian Ferreira to try to overtake. Wait, Ivan Stitchbury. Oh, okay, so Daniel Thomas just didn't render in just now. Kerry Corcoran onto the inside. Sebastian Ferreira will not go to the apex. That is a huge advantage for the American driver. And Kerry Corcoran looking like he is getting the better lines. A half-hearted attempt down the inside by Kerry Corcoran on Sebastian Ferreira, but it won't have any use. Now onto the long straight. Maybe there's a move possible here, but it's not looking like it. The gap still too large at the moment, but we do have to consider that it's closing. And there is another straight coming up where slipstream could play a role for Kerry Corcoran to get past Sebastian Ferreira. You'll have to wait and see what has now happened. That Julian Garcias has closed the gap to Kerry Corcoran. So now Kerry Corcoran on the defensive. And Julian Garcias will not try anything. It's already down to the finish line. So Daniel Thomas, Owen Stitchberry, Joshua Wills, Benjamin Kern, Christian Malturek, all is expected. Many of the top drivers from last season also on there. Oh, and that was very close, almost getting that position in the last moment, Kerry Corcoran, but he will have to concede with P16. And now that was the first race. We'll be taking another quick ad break, and then it's on to the half an hour race. Back at Virginia International. Now we'll have a little warm-up of 3 minutes before the race will start, so still some time to get that adrenaline down or to prepare for the next start. So there aren't any drivers out at the moment. Oh, Peter Sigda out on track now for a quick warm-up. I think he's the only one at the moment. So he will have a pretty open track to himself right now. Only half a minute remains of the warm-up. So in just a second, the second race will start. And now warm-up is over and we can be excited for the race that will start in just a second. As the driver will probably get teleported back to the pits any moment now. And there it is. Now the gridding process for the second heat can begin, so do keep in mind we now have a reverse order for the first 8 drivers. So Daniel Thomas and Ivan Stitchbury starting relatively far back, with Benjamin Kahn now in a better position to make up some points. But of course also Sander Traillet and Peter Sigdam, as well as John Bailiff, in a better position to make up some places. And top 3 haven't gridded yet. But they will have to any second, as there's only 1 minute left before the lights go out. Oh, and there are the lights already. And that's the 5th red line on, and it's green underway. Sander Traillet down towards the first corner. He seems to be able to hold his position for now. Onto the inside, and now no one will go alongside. John Bailiff already gaining a position, and Peter Sigdal losing one. Oh, and what is that? Christian Maltrek getting pushed very wide, but Benjamin Kahn in the back there, and he will be starting his march up to the front. But Ivan Stitchbury already up to P4 as Thomas. Oh! What is happening? What is happening? Oh! Those were some of our. Oh, and Eugene Schmidt going off as well. Oh no! Oh, that was a terrible start. Now Ivan Stitchbury, Benjamin Kahn. 2 of our top contenders out already. So the race will probably be handed to Daniel Thomas, though he will have to catch Sander Traillet first. And these guys have already built such a massive gap, as they haven't been involved in the chaos happening behind them. Now they can fight in peace, though a hungry Christian Maltrek is lurking on the horizon. But the gap seems to be growing, so these drivers in a good position right now. The gap is really small. Will we see a move by John Bailiff down the inside? The number 84 car on the defensive, onto the outside, too wide through the first corner. John Bailiff will have to give up the position for now, but he will stay behind and look for a gap to get past. Now down the order a bit, things are looking a bit more interesting. Who is that? That is Martin Zitzma. Well, oh no, that is Joshua Wills we're looking at right here. Who has been overtaken by Christopher Smith. Number 175 car. And it is looking like he might try to get an overtake done onto this next straight, but he doesn't have enough power down the next straight to try and get an attack going. But Daniel Thomas right on the heel of Christian Martorek. But no one's going down the inside. Everyone's staying calm and collected. Everyone's waiting for a better place to overtake. You will see if that pays out for them. It's getting very close between Joshua Wills and Christopher Smith. Now on to the straight. We might see a move from Joshua Wills, as Christopher Smith has also missed an apex on the exit. So there might be a chance. We'll look a bit back at Dennis Blumert. Last year he was in the pro category. We'll see where he lands this time around. He's right behind Sebastian Ferreira, who last year was in the amateurs category. So we're now bumper to bumper. Dennis Blumert will go down the inside. Will Sebastian Ferreira be able to defend against that? And Dennis Blumert has his nose in front, and Sebastian Ferreira will have to give up that position. And Dennis Blumert is through to P12. Now we'll take a look up to PA Tom Carter. At the moment under pressure from Julian Casillas. There's only 0.4 seconds behind at the moment. And there might be a fight brewing there. But there's also a fight further down the order. Ian Stitchberry against Benjamin Kern. The two drivers who were involved in that little incident at the start. Now fighting against each other, not where they wanted to be, but I think it will still be a very interesting fight to watch. Benjamin Kern and Ivan Stitchberry, very close competitors in terms of pace. We've already seen in the last season, second to last race. Ivan Stitchberry going a bit wide there, and he's building a gap to Benjamin Kern. That will not be close easily. Oh! What is that? John Bailiff. Oh, that was just another error with my iRacing. So John Bailiff still in P2, chasing down Sander Drayer. But Christian Martorek closing in. 1.5 seconds behind John Bailiff, and only 7 minutes have passed. So this position isn't looking as sure anymore as it was. Joshua Wills and Christopher Smith. No move being made into that corner. They were very close. But Joshua Wills not taking any risk here, and maybe he doesn't want to lose the gap, the connection to the front. Someone's off in the back there. That should be Martin Sietsma going off track, which will lose him a bit of time. And almost bumper to bumper here, Joshua Wills against Christopher Smith. Now Joshua Wills will go alongside, and he is through right before the S's. It could have been very difficult if Christopher Smith would have decided to fight it. So now if we look a bit back, Tom Carter looking really good. I think he's using the same livery as Benjamin Kern. So we might have another team dynamic. It will be interesting to watch here. Now on to the start-finish straight. Tom Carter has lost a lot of time when Cassius in front. Yeah, everything is starting to calm down, but Dennis Blomert still on the attack. Now against Mark Verlinden. He'll be going down the inside. Oh, and who is that? Mark Verlinden going very wide. Dennis Blomert is through up to 10th now. We'll have a 1.3 second gap to Freak Smith, one of the contenders for last year's amateur title. So we'll see if Dennis Blomert, who was in the pro category last season, is able to close that gap. Interesting to see, but Verlinden closing that gap rapidly. Oh, and that was a lot of time lost. Mark Verlinden now half a second behind Dennis Blomert and Martin Sietsma. It went off a bit further back. Oh, Iwan Stitchbury already up to P13 and Benjamin Kern on P16 at the moment. So both drivers advancing really quickly at the moment. But first we'll have to look at this battle here. Oh no! We'll have to look at the battle between Daniel Thomas and Christian Malczarek. Daniel Thomas to the outside of Christian Malczarek. And he will squeeze him to the inside. Oh no, there's room. And Christian Malczarek will use it to get Daniel Thomas to do the long way. And he is ahead. Daniel Thomas almost insisting on that gap. But Christian Malczarek shutting it down right then and there. He will not have someone do a dive like that. Now Daniel Thomas already losing time again. This is not good for the Welsh driver, as he could probably go the pace with everyone in front of him. So we've seen demonstrated in last race. Oh, there are some very interesting battles going on. Iwan Stitchbury against Martin Sietsma. And this Blomert has gotten past Verlinden and now onto the straight. Iwan Stitchbury against Martin Sietsma. Maybe a move down the inside. Using the slipstream as long as you can to get the best overshoots. And they are too wide and Martin Sietsma gives up the position. And now Iwan Stitchbury is right on the back of Mark Verlinden. Very sorry about that. Oh, and that was looking very oversteery there. Oh, that was not a good corner. Oh, and what is happening there? A very hard fight between Iwan Stitchbury and Martin Sietsma. And now Sebastian Ferreira also wants to join and also wants to gain some position. Ahmed Stitchberry defending very hard here and keeping his position for now. We will take a look at Joshua Wills. He was right on the back of Christian Malczarek. Now into the S's that would be turn 7, 8 and 9. Here and then through this fast left-hander turn 10. We've seen some drivers use a little off the grass. We've seen some others prefer not even using the curb on the outside. We don't know what line's faster, but we do know that Joshua Wills has an opportunity here. He could try to get alongside Christian Malczarek, and he seems to be too far back for that, sadly. So no move here. Benjamin Kern against Kerry Corcoran to the outside. Oh, that was a very risky move. We saw the car move a bit. Oh! And what was that? What happened there? Benjamin Kern out of the race. We look at that again. Oh. I don't want to make any judgment here, but it will be Benjamin Kern out of the race. That is very unfortunate. The stewards will definitely have a look at that. It could be that Benjamin Kern had a little touch on the back, touched Kerry Corcoran on the back there, and the American not being able to open the gap more. So I don't know who to blame here. We'll have to see what the stewards think. Now Peter Sigda on the tail of Kerry Corcoran, who was involved in the incident just now, getting to the outside of turn 11. Oh, and squeezing Kerry Corcoran, squeezing him wide, and it's still side by side down to turn 13. A little touch there, a little love tap, you could say. And he's through. Kerry Corcoran has to give up the position. The racers calmed down a lot. Besides here, John Bailiff has lost the position to Daniel Thomas. Right behind him, Christian Malczarek and Joshua Wills still in the fight for P5. Now it is getting dark out. Oh, and that he will go to the inside of turn 10 there, and there will be a touch, and Christian Malczarek is off. And he will rejoin relatively safely, and now gain his position back. Stewards might have to look at that and hand out a penalty for Joshua Wills in the Taco Bell livery. Christian Malczarek. Now I think he might have been pushed by Frederik Smith. No, Christopher Smith. That is. And he is through again, back to P5 with, back to P4 with Christian Malczarek and Joshua Wills back Oh, and that is Christopher Smith back there into the grass, losing a lot of time. Freak Smith now on the back of Tom Carter. We'll see if he can make a move and down into turn 1. No, he can't, but Tom Carter getting very, very wide there. So Freak Smith might have an opportunity here to get a good exit and then get past. And now the gap is opening up again, 0.4.5 seconds between the two drivers. So the gap is opening up, and Dennis Blumert is getting dangerous for Freak Smith here, as the gap is closing, 0.4 seconds between the drivers now. So Tom Carter and Dennis Blumert both at the same distance to Freak Smith, taking a really tight line there, Freak Smith. But it might have helped him actually. But oh! What is that? Dennis Blumert getting a bad exit, I presume. Oh no, that is Ivan Stitchbury. He could have also gotten a very good exit here. And Ivan Stitchbury is through. Dennis Blumert trying to retake the position somehow. But there's no use. The Welsh driver now up to P10. And Daniel Thomas at the moment 4 seconds behind Sander Dragier. So Sander Dragier might actually be able to hold P1 for this race. Battles are dying down now. Ivan Stitchbury right on the back of Freak Smith. Now these are two different paces here. Freak Smith getting a really bad exit. Now Ivan Stitchbury is alongside. Freak Smith will not make it too wide through the left-hander and give up the position in hopes that Ivan Stitchbury can tow him towards Christopher Smith. You might have seen some bump drafting right there. But Freak Smith also already losing a lot of pace, and there's Dennis Blumert who wants to get past Freak Smith, who wants to get into the top 10. Now he was really close, but he has gotten a really, really bad exit there, so he will not be close enough to make a kind of move. Peter Sigter has gotten past Sebastian Ferreira, it seems. And the two guys still really close together. Now 8 minutes left on the clock. Ivan Stitchbury a little bit further up the front has gotten past Tom Carter, who will keep fighting, but not for long now. He has lost the position. Freak Smith tried to make a move down the inside, but lost the rear a bit. Now Dennis Blumert right on his bumper. And he's looking for a gap to go alongside, but I don't think that's a good decision. That point on the track. So we'll have to stay behind and hope for the best for the next straight. It seems that exit is a weak point for him. So we'll have to see if he can make a move there. Oh, Tom Carter off in the grass. and that will lose him a lot of top speed compared to Frederik Smid, the driver directly behind. It will not be enough for any move to be made, but it will be enough to get back into get back to the slipstream significantly. But no opportunity shining itself here. So a lot of battles have died down, but now it's getting really close again between Frederik Smid and Tom Carter. That was an attempt down the inside, but it will not work. Another attempt down the inside, but Tom Carter is quick to defend and close that gap before Frederik Smid can enter it. Frederik Smid might be trying to scare his opponent here a little, to get him to force him into a mistake, but it doesn't seem to be working at the moment. Now Neil Killen a bit further back, fighting against Terry Corcoran. Will also be a very interesting battle. Oh, but I think we'll go back to the front as Frederik Smid is going down the inside of Tom Carter. They are side by side going into the slight left-hander, and they will stay alongside Frederik Smid trying to make a move, but Tom Carter sitting on the apex. There's nowhere he can go, or where Frederik Smid can go to make room for the other driver. Neil Killen has passed Terry Corcoran. Meanwhile, what is happening a bit further up the order, Joshua Wills closing in on John Bailiff. 0.3 seconds between the two drivers, and they are going to battle any moment now. So it's only about a car length between the two. Oh, and that was a mistake by John Bailiff, not getting the best exit there and squeezing his opponent down to the inside. So he won't try to make any move right now. But that is a very, very risky way of defending. You could very easily be involved in an incident, and it could be very well blamed on you with a defense that aggressive. So he will have to stay careful. But it has worked for now. Oh, Christian Melchorek in the back there. Oh, who was that? Who just crashed? Oh, that is John Bailiff. Okay, let's look at the replay. Oh, and that is, I think that is just John Bailiff giving the other driver not enough room. That's of course very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now John Bailiff underway again. Of course a huge loss here, and something very interesting is happening at the front. Sander Drayer, who had the fortune of starting at the front because of the reverse grid of the top 8, but now he's come under pressure from one of the faster guys in the league, Daniel Thomas, who won the last race. So the gap now only down to 0.7 seconds, and there will be 2 more laps to go. Big question now, Sander Drayer, Will he be able to defend that position against one of the fastest drivers in the league? We'll have to wait and see. But Dennis Bromer now on the back of Frederik Sumit and Tom Carter in front, going off the track. Very close racing here. But there are also many mistakes happening. I think a bit more consistency could gain you a lot in this moment. Let's see. Trying a move down the inside, but Frederik Sumit is quick to notice and block that. Now in the bottom, in the top left, you can see the times that the two leaders did, and I think it's already the white flag, if I'm not mistaken. So Sander Draye, 1 lap to defend his first win in this season against one of the fastest guys in the league. Now onto the straight. A very difficult place to overtake, but of course with that much of a pace difference, or I presume there is a lot of pace difference, as Sander Draye was about 7 tenths slower last lap. Oh, and now I think that is him finished onto the long straight. Only brake checking could help him here, and he will decide against that. And now 0.2 seconds between the drivers. Sander Draye will have to go to the inside, I think, to defend the position. But he's not... Okay, so now he's staying on the outside for that corner. And then Daniel Thomas is through. Oh, and both drivers have gone off. But Sander Draye, the one who got back on the track quicker, now in the lead again. So Daniel Thomas, that mistake might have cost him the race. The second race win. That might have cost him total domination for this weekend. And across the line, Sander Draye with a beautiful P1 finish. What a race. Oh, that was incredible to watch that in those final moments. But some more final moments are happening here. John Bailiff in the fight with Sebastian Freya. Oh, and now Neil Killen alongside it. John Bailiff and Neil Killen will go through. No, who is it? Oh, that must be a photo finish, but I think it's Neil Killen who finishes in front of John Bailiff. And you can see some frustration there. And Neil Killen consolidating him there a bit. Now, there aren't many people left to have to finish. For example, here Guido Meyer, who we haven't looked at all weekend, but he is with the number 992. Very fitting number here. And Eugene Schmidt finishing P21. I think he deserved a better weekend than this. But this must be it. So, thank you very much for watching those two races. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you again next weekend for the next race that will take place on Fuji International Speedway. Another very exciting race ahead of us, I think. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great evening. And if you wish to join this league, I do have to say that there is a link down in the description to join the league. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon.